How's everyone going out there? Happy Monday. Been a week away. I went ahead and took a vacation, wanted to get my batteries recharged so I can come back out here, start making great content for you guys. Two videos a week is really tough to make good content. I don't want any filler videos. I want every video to be worthwhile and worth watching. So I really do hard to try to get great content for you guys. So today's video is I'm going to talk about whenever I ask somebody what's preventing them from buying a home. The two top answers I always get is the first one is cash to close, the down payment and closing costs, which if you haven't seen it yet, I do have a video up of the true cost of home buying explained. So it breaks down every single thing you need to know and a good way to estimate how much money you would need with the down payment and closing costs together to buy a home, depending on what the home cost is. The second thing I get is they're not sure if they can get approved or not. They've had issues in the past with their credit. They don't think their credit's up high enough. They don't know, whatever the case may be. They've had a bankruptcy, whatever the case may be. They're not sure if they can get approved. And I have, terrific loan guys that I work with that can really, even if they can't get you approved, they put you on the path to get approved. And exactly, you leave that consultation with my loan guys knowing exactly where you stand and what you have to do to get approved, and even a time frame that it might take for you to get approved as well, so you can start working towards that goal if that's something you want to do. So today's video, I'm going to talk about the minimum FHA requirements. FHA is the easiest of the loans to get approved for. Of course, you have conventional, you have VA, you have USDA. FHA is the most typical one because they don't. Again, it's easiest to get approved on, and it's what a lot of people go for. So a couple of requirements, and you can watch this video and see, hey, look, I check all those. Maybe I can get approved, even though I didn't think I could. And we can move forward. You can always reach out to me. I put you in contact with one of my loan guys. I have a loan guy that does several states, does 15 different states, I believe, so he can help you out even if you're not in New Jersey, which is where I'm licensed to sell real estate. So first requirement for an FHA loan, self-explanatory pretty much, I'm sure most people know this, is you have to at least put 3.5% down of the sales price minimum on an FHA loan. Pretty self-explanatory. We won't dive too deep into that. I want to keep the video short, sweet, and to the point. Second one is the minimum credit score for an FHA loan is 580. Obviously, with everything else you have, it all puts into one file and decides whether you can be approved or not. So the better the credit, the higher your credit score is, the better interest rate, and more likely to get approved with the other things on your credit, whatever may be going on. But the minimum credit score is 580. You have to have at least a 580 to get approved for an FHA loan. The next one is your debt to income ratio. So the back end, so your payments. So you have your income, then you have your debt. The debt part of your debt to income ratio has to be at least under 43% to get approved. And so that's what your monthly payments are. So it's your car payments, your credit card payments, anything you pay monthly. Your debt to income ratio has to be under 43% of what you're making. Next one is you have to check your counties. The FHA, minimums or maximums or whatever you want to say. The FHA limits for each county in every state is different. So you have to check. If you're buying a big time house, you're buying a $500,000-$600,000 house, you're gonna have to check and see if you can even go FHA in that county with that big of a loan. So you're gonna have to come down with a bigger down payment or even try to get approved conventional otherwise. So always make sure, keep that in mind, the FHA loan limits when you're putting in an offer on a house too. And that's gonna be typically for the bigger purchases, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 houses, something in that range. The next one is you gotta have an FHA approved appraisal. So not only does the house have to appraise for what the purchase price is, the loan amount is, but FHA, and this is one reason why FHA is harder to get approved in this seller's market. Sellers don't want to deal with the repairs situation, but a home has to pass certain standards for FHA. FHA does a good job of protecting its buyers and also protecting the bank in case the buyer were to get foreclosed on and the bank doesn't want to put in a lot of money into the house. So they make sure everything's in working condition. no cracks, no paint chips. You can go on the FHA website or message me directly if you want to get into the full requirements for an FHA appraisal to be passed, but has to pass an FHA approved appraisal. Next up, 2 years of employment is what they consider a safe job status, is 2 years. Now there is a way around that. If you've just switched, if you went to a better job and there was no gap in between, so you literally put in your 2 weeks and then started at your new job. If you had 2 years at your old job or even more, that'll help your case if you just started at a new job. But typically they want to see at your current job 2 years minimum at your job. Again, like I said, there's ways around that. If you just switch jobs and you've been there for, whatever the case may be, a couple months, but if you were at your old job 4 or 5 years, and again, there's no gap in between your employment status, that'll help you get around that. At least one person in your house has to occupy the home. At least one person on the loan has to occupy the home. So this isn't a case, FHA, you cannot buy the FHA, you cannot buy a house FHA and go rent it out to people. You can't do that. So if you are married, you and your wife are on the loan, at least one of you has to occupy the house full time. You can't just use the FHA to cheap down on the down payment and use it as a rental property. If you're going to go rental, you're going to have to go conventional. And final, of course, you have to have the legal age of 18. Pretty self-explanatory on that as well. As far as bankruptcies go, most of the time they tell you 3 to 4 years away from the actual closing date of the bankruptcy. Not when you first got, not when it first got put into action. When your bankruptcy was physically done. 3 to 4 years. I have one loan guy can get it done in 3 years away from bankruptcy. I have another one that says at least he needs at least 4 years. So that'll differ, but for the most part, it's in that 3 to 4 year ballpark. So those are the FHA requirements. I'm already a little bit longer than I wanted to be on this video, but again, those are the two topics. When I ask what's preventing you, it's the cost of buying a home, which again, I already have a video on that, and it's not knowing if you can get approved. So hopefully this steered you in the right direction and answer your question if you can get approved or not. If you have any additional questions for me, as always, please feel free to DM me, reach out to me, message me on social media. If you have my phone, text me, of course, call me, whatever you want to do. And until then, I'll see you Friday. Like, comment, subscribe.